I'm Brian Christner, and this is The Byte, a bite-sized podcast about containers, cloud, and tech.
Welcome back to The Byte. In this episode, we're going to talk about the GitHub repository Awesome Docker. Now, I don't know if you know about the awesome lists that are available in GitHub, but there's someone that created a contributor list. What's his name? Sindra Who's Awesome. I'll put the link in the show notes. But anyway, if you think of any technology or any space, for example, Kubernetes, serverless, Docker, etc. If you Google awesome and the name, there's some sort of list on GitHub that tracks all the different products around this specific niche, I should say. What's interesting, though, is Julian Bisconti created a awesome Docker list quite some time ago, and it has grown substantially. It is actually at 14,400 stars. And I must plug it a little bit because I'm also a contributor here. And it's an open source list. It's hosted on GitHub. We have a Netlify link to it as well. But essentially what it is every project we can find surrounding the Docker ecosystem we put into this list. We start off on where to start with Docker. So Docker best practices, some playground, tutorials, etc. How to get started on Windows, the different components of Docker. And then it gets into actually like operations and monitoring, networking. And we list out every component we can find, or people submit their own projects. And they have to follow some sort of criteria where, it has to have a decent README. It has to be understandable. It can't be like too dodgy or too salesy. And so you can put some SaaS solutions out there. We're not going away from SaaS at all. We're really open for everyone. But the idea is that everyone can submit something and it's going to be linking back to the GitHub page or to the source code of the project. And if it is a SaaS solution, we always indicate that it costs money. And we go through it and we try to maintain this list as best we can. And we put like a skull and crossbones next to it if it's like an abandoned project. If it's in beta, you'll see construction signs. Monetize, you'll see a dollar sign next to it. But it's quite a great list because it's a reference actually also in Docker's documentation. So many times when you're in Docker docs or different pages of Docker, the blog, you can see the reference back to this. Many things that we see come up, so new features of Docker or projects, we always ping the maintainer of the project. We like, hey, could you also add it to awesome Docker? And it's its own community because it's unopinionated. And we basically put anything out there that's going to help grow and help people learn about the different aspects of Docker, anything from IoT and serverless. So I really have, I've contributed a lot. I've really dug and I found a lot of projects along the way. And if you have a project, if you have something you're working on, please submit it. Even if it's not ready, we're willing to take a look at it and give you feedback on what it would take to get it into the list. And if you have any suggestions, feedback, we're open for everything. Julia Visconti he's on this thing 24 hours a day. He's always maintaining it, updating it. And there's a lot of automation in it, making sure the links are working. But our goal is to build this for the community. So this is giving back to the community to help people understand the different areas of Docker, as I mentioned before, monitoring, security, networking, whatever you're interested in, and really gives you a list. And every talk I give, so anything, presentation, etc., I always put this as the number one resource to Docker because it has everything there. If you want to know anything about Docker, how to get started, all the different links, it's all in one place. Have a look. Awesome Docker. It is the repository for all things Docker. Again, if you're interested in other things like all things Kubernetes, there's an awesome Kubernetes or an awesome serverless, awesome IoT. There's a bunch of different awesome lists. So go check out the different lists as well. And I'm looking forward to your feedback on what you think. That's all we have for an awesome Docker in this episode. We will see you in the next episode. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Byte. You can find the show notes at thebyte.io and follow me on Twitter at IDoMyOwnTricks.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.